Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting. It is September 25th, 2014. Please join us for a pledge of allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So before we go too far, are there any changes to the agenda? We have 5 Ledgeway, request for certificate of compliance. We have Nashua Street back at 7:35. Are we going to see Steve at 7:50 and 7:55?
No, but they're in there for the purpose of continuing again.
Okay.
So it's more of a bookmark. The request for an addition is the 5 Lilac Lane Certificate of Compliance that I mentioned,
Okay.
and then the citizen request that we received yesterday.
Okay.
That's being added.
Well, is there Mr. Duncan Brown here?
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm not now. I just wanted to make sure you were actually here. I wasn't familiar with you, sir. Okay. Would you mind terribly if we put you at the end, Duncan? The rest of the agenda is posted. That's the reason that we request a notice in advance. 1 day is not advance notice for the purposes of our agendas.
Right. It could go under citizens' concerns.
It could, which would go at the end. That's what we usually do.
At the end?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's second on the agenda here.
Maybe we can meet you with you next time. Would that be better for you?
Well, do you follow the agenda so you'll be ready at 8:30?
We follow the agenda as best as we can, Mr. Brown.
I probably will only take 5 minutes.
Well, then 8:30 to 8:35 should be your spot.
Again, huh? Okay.
So let's add that in from 8:30 to 8:35. For the record, Mr. Brown, no one takes 5 minutes, not ever. Okay. So do we have any other items that you'd like to add on the agenda?
Those were the only 2.
Okay.
What was the second one?
The 5 Lilac
What was the
Lane
first one?
Certificate of Compliance. Mr. Duncan.
So, well, the first one was the certificate of compliance for 5
Citizens'
Lilac.
concerns, excuse me, yes.
Okay.
All right. So, I would accept a motion to approve the meeting agenda as amended.
You can do that tonight? So moved. Second?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Excellent. All right. We're coming up on 7:15, so why don't we postpone our announcements and meeting minutes? Probably actually take up our meeting minutes at 8 o'clock as they pertain to our discussion. Okay, so for 7:15, I'd like to open the public hearing for 100-0377, notice of intent for 5 Ledgeway.
Evening.
Good evening, sir.
So we're back with 5 Ledgeway. My name is JP Connolly. I work with GPR, and I'm here representing Ann Leuven. The applicant would like to construct a single-family dwelling, similar in location, a little larger than the previous application for Turner's. The building footprint, including decks and such, not stairs, is 18,687. I believe Turner's is just under 1760.
The building footprint?
Building is 1867.
Oh, 1867.
1,867
Yeah.
square feet.
You said 18,687.
I'm sorry.
Wow, that was big. big. And the former one was what?
I believe 1760, something in that range, 1770. That's memory, and I'm not sure how sharp it is today. Aside from some minor changes to the site, and I'll specifically address each one of them, the building will be conforming, yeah, within the setbacks. The layout shown here extends a little closer to the wetlands than the pond than the previous building footprint did, not significantly. Trees are shown on the plan to be removed, and the driveway is changing slightly. They're looking to not have to relocate the utility pole. We are going away from having a gutter system on the house and using a drip edge. And we've calculated the volume that drip edge can handle, and depending on how you look at the existing conditions, we're significantly providing more volume than necessary. In fact, the drip edge will handle the half-year storm event in detaining, so anything less than that won't escape. Aside from that, I believe this plan mimics all the previous concerns the Turners had addressed, and there's also been a lot more communication with the neighbors, and there doesn't seem to be as much disapproval of this project.
All right. So during the last series of meetings for the previous application, we discussed the number of trees at great extent and which ones are going to be removed. Is there a significant difference in the number of trees being removed?
No. In fact, they're going to try to remain as many as possible. What we're showing in this situation is a worst case scenario. They're not sure if they're going to underground the electric utilities or not. We're showing them underground because that's a worst case scenario. The driveway may shrink in size and come further away from the sandy pond, but again, we're showing the maximum build out that would be proposed. Grading essentially is the same. There's a little bit of grading on the northwest corner that was different than the previous plan. There's an access door in the back corner of the garage, so that's why we have that little bit of grading. It's either that or we have a step out.
I thought it was pretty flat over there.
It is fairly flat.
Okay. So you're just raising the grade a tiny bit?
Yep, just to make that walk out rather than a step out.
Okay. Anything further to add?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Is the building as applied for here staked in the field?
I am not sure of that. I don't think it is, but it could
Okay.
be. And lastly, I do have one more thing to add. There's a basement slab shown. They're uncertain whether they'll have a full basement or even just a crawl space. So,
All right. Well, I think last time our biggest issues were material removal, etc.
yeah.
So,
And they're going to go through with the same procedure that the Turners would have, which was excavate and remove rather than store in place.
all right. Jess, did you have any questions?
Did the question of test drilling come up with these applicants?
No, they're
For-
not interested.
Who's not,
They're not interested in, going. They're basically going to excavate, and as they excavate, if
Yeah.
necessary, abandon the full basement design.
yeah, no, I just remember the previous applicants were questioned substantially about, I was just wondering if the neighbors had brought that up this time.
I have had no input with the neighbors. I've had no conversations with any of them. Nick may have, but I don't believe so. As far as I know, the applicant has done a lot to kind of quell a lot of those concerns, being out there,
Interesting.
interacting.
All right.
Any
Curtis.
questions?
Okay. So is
May
as,
I ask?
oh, of course.
Thank you. I'm just curious, I don't recall, what is the proximity to the pond versus the last? How much closer are we going? Or what is the distance right now on that plan?
I can scale it off the plan. I don't
I'm just
have those
curious.
exact numbers.
Just so we have that for the record. While you're doing that, I'll just state, I have spoken with Miss Levin a few times. She's come into the office during the filing process, and she did state that she's been in great communications with the abutters, and I have not received any emails or any letters opposing this, and they were notified.
Excellent.
Also, just so you know, I did receive the green cards for this project. JP gave them to me right before the meeting began. And also, Ms. Levin has paid her legal notice fee. Just for bookkeeping.
Depending on how you scale it and where, I'm looking at the closest part of the building footprint, being the deck, as 45 feet from the 44, 43 edge of bank.
Actually, I think you may be on the wrong bump. I get 35, but.
I didn't use the footprint of the stairs, I just did the building, so the 35 would make sense for the building, or the stairs corner.
Will there be excavation and a footing at the base of the stairs?
I don't believe so. I believe they'll be wooden. Again, they may lower the deck, and the stairs are approximate.
Well, I have to land on something, so.
Yeah, we'd probably wooden footing or wooden stairways down to grade. I don't know if there hasn't been much discussion about putting up.
Well, only because it's the closest thing to the water.
Yeah,
I'd just like to know how they're gonna terminate it. I can't imagine them dying out into the dirt,
okay.
so. And I can't imagine game letting you die them out into the dirt, so. Okay.
I think for the purposes of the Conservation Commission, we can assume that there'll be a concrete footing, or the
That's
piers.
what I'm figuring. I just wanna see it,
Yeah.
so. Okay. Is anyone here to speak on this application for 5 Ledgeway? Okay, so as is our want, even though this is very similar to the last application, we would need to schedule a site visit. I know this weekend is out, unfortunately for me.
Aren't we doing the site walk for
Yes.
the MBTA?
The following is October 4th, and we're
Okay.
meeting with MBTA at 8 o'clock.
At 8.
I just got confirmation.
Oh, no kidding. It only took 3 months. All right, so if we were meeting with, yeah, but MBTA is gonna be a,
That one should be too long. We're only doing from the Willows out toward Littleton. That's the straightforward portion. This is for the certificate of compliance,
okay.
not towards Shirley.
Do we dare tell JP 9 o'clock?
I think that's safe.
Why don't we say 9:30, JP, so that way we're not leaving you standing out there stranded.
Not this weekend, so October.
October 4th.
Next weekend.
When does Ms. Levin plan to start doing the work?
I'm not aware.
Okay.
She
So,
stated to me she was hoping as soon as possible.
Oh, so this fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
so our sidewalk would start at 9:30 on October 4th. Wonderful. Anybody have anything further?
No?
All right, I would accept a motion to continue this public hearing until October 9th. How about
Yes.
that?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. So we will see you on October 4th in the morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. We have 5 minutes before our 7:30. Why don't we grab those meeting minutes anyway, and we'll come back to them. Has there been anything more on Vitasoy?
No.
Saw the chief at the library the other night. He said he's getting started. He's very excited. Okay. Any changes to the meeting minutes?
No.
And I would accept a motion to approve the meeting minutes as written for 9/11/2014.
So moved.
Second?
Feels like cheating, doesn't it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It doesn't, it should. All right. I'm gonna keep these just for a minute. All right, that clock appears to actually be fast.
Oh.
Do we have any accounts payable?
We do not.
Okay.
We're all
Do we
caught
have
up.
any announcements?
I didn't get the email. I don't know the details on the link, but I did want everyone to know that there is currently a survey for the town residents to go online, and I believe the link is also on the website for the Department of Economic Development.
Okay.
They're asking the town residents, and I was hoping I would have received the official email, but I didn't get it. They're asking all residents to go online and fill out the survey, and it's basically wanting to get an idea for what the town residents would like to do with grant money, how to prioritize improvements in the town.
Interesting.
Yeah, so so far they've had over 100, or excuse me, no, they're hoping to get over 100 responses. So it's currently up, and unfortunately I don't have the link, I didn't receive it, but look at the town website, there'll be a link on there as to how to get it. Thought you'd all be interested in that, and anyone else
Thank you very much.
sitting here tonight.
All right. I have 7:25. Why don't we at least begin by discussing the request for certificate of compliance for 2 Shadow Lane. So
Yes.
where exactly is 2 Shadow Lane?
It's off of Groton School Road. So 2 Shadow Lane, they're currently in the process of selling this property and realized that the previous certificates of compliance were never recorded. So there's actually 2 numbers attached to this, 100-38
Wow.
and 100-201. Now, 100-38 was for a single building, and according to the original file, this is back in '84 when the certificate was signed, the certificate of compliance, that was actually referred to as, hold on just a second here, get myself organized, 31 Groton School Road. And the certificate of compliance, we have a copy of it in file, was signed in 1991 with regard to an order that was dated in '85. So we have that here. So we need to reissue a certificate of compliance so they can record it. And what I'll do is I'll actually copy the old one to it as well.
Sure.
And then the second one, it looks like that lot actually became a small subdivision because the following one for 100-38 is for, excuse me, I just said the wrong number.
201?
201, thank you. Get myself confused here as I'm looking at the cover letter. That is for Shadow Lane lots 1, 2, and 3. And that one, the certificate of compliance was issued. Actually, this one's the original. I can give them this one. November of 2004.
But
Take that back. I just realized this one has blue ink on it. This one's the original.
Huh.
That's odd.
Does it make sense to reissue one so
But we'll
that it
reissue
isn't
one, yes.
2004?
Yes, but I'll copy this original to it as well.
Sure.
So we received cover letters from the council, the attorneys representing the current homeowners asking for release of these two. Would you like to see them?
I would, just for 2 seconds.
Yep.
And these were all done, but they didn't record them?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So those projects, yeah, so they've been closed out, it's not recorded.
To be honest, mostly I just wanted to see who it was. So it was Bob and Tom.
It was interesting looking at the order from back in the 80s, how different it is. Like no letterhead on it, nothing. No state emblem.
And what's really interesting is I must have been out this night because I have to go back and figure that one out. 2004. Okay, so essentially, to reiterate, we would be reissuing certificates of compliance that were already signed off by the commission years ago but not recorded, and so therefore they're looking for new issuance, clean paper to file. All right? It is now officially 7:30, so our public meeting is for 2 Shadow Lane, Mass DEP file number 100-038 and 100-201. Is anyone here to speak on that matter? Okay, so in that case, I would accept a motion to issue certificates of compliance that restate the original certificates of compliance issued for 100-038 on March 7th, 1991, and for 201 issued on December 9th, 2004.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. That's for you. And pass those back before I lose them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. Any other action on those?
Nope, that covers it. Thank you.
All right, we actually have 2 minutes. Lilac Lane, Pondview Estates, did you visit or?
That one is outside the, looking at the map for the entire subdivision, that's outside our jurisdiction. That's the first cul-de-sac on the right-hand side when you're going up Loon Hill Road.
Mhm.
And it's a matter of, this is a partial, request for partial, because
So
of
it's
the
a
fact
stormwater?
that. Right.
Okay,
Because of the fact that we've already spoken with the homeowners associations, and that one's on hold for a complete. Let me pull that
did you have a chance to visit?
up. I do not on this one.
Okay,
Non-jurisdictional, but I also just found out about it yesterday with this case, so
okay,
I can tomorrow double check on it for you.
that would be swell. Okay. Coming up on 7:35, let's reopen the public hearing for 100-0363 Nashua Street Extension.
Hey, good evening.
And Calvin, how are you?
Good to see you all.
Pass that back there. I was in Syracuse all week. I'd be amazed what's legal there.
Dear Lord, I just wanted to roll with it.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is JP Conley. I represent GPR, and I'm here to present the National Street Extension subdivision. At last time we were here, we were waiting for comments from Mark, and we've received them, and we've gone through one iteration of addressing them and got another letter from Mark today regarding his outstanding comments. But prior to getting to that, I'd like to first discuss business on the lot itself. We're unsure whether or not the enforcement order has been lifted. That was related to the stockpiling material and clearing.
So I understand you'd approach Becky hoping to stockpile material on the site?
Which is outside of the buffer. They're digging up Pleasant Street, Howard, and Taft. They're
Right.
looking for a place to dump the gravel. I'm gonna need it, and so I figured it'd be a good time to do it. And I talked to Becky, just so I wouldn't ruffle any feathers too much again, and to see if I could do it outside of so-called your jurisdiction.
Can you show me where you would place it on the map?
Remember the road going down?
I do. I actually see Todd down there all the time.
Good. Gotta be working.
Yeah.
I'm confused on where I am.
You upside down?
On the road.
Yeah.
There's your son's garage.
What's the dirt pile?
Dirt house here, or it was.
And this is the road coming down.
Right, you have a couple piles of dirt right up here.
That's been there for 100 years.
I'm just saying, that's
Yeah,
what.
okay, understand. So it would be down and through here, right down along the road. The red barn is
That's the
right there. I want to be out of your area. I don't like getting yelled at. So I just want to get out of here. You know, we're probably talking 10 trucks, 12 trucks. And we're going to need that to build that road.
Sure.
So I figured it's an inexpensive way of getting fill, gravel.
So from what Calvin is showing us on the plan, the work would all be done as you enter the property on the left-hand side. It is outside of the buffer zone. I guess the only thing that we would request is that, are the hay bales still on the other side? Are they
Yes.
still in good condition? Okay, so if you commit to make sure that they're in good condition before you stockpile the stone, I don't have any problem with it. It's outside of our
Strong
area.
gravel, yeah. Okay, good.
Does anybody have any issue with that? Ms. Gugino?
No.
I know.
All right, so that seemed like a good place to start.
All right, thank you very much.
Not at all.
So, getting back to Mark's comments, his letter, I don't know if you guys had time to review it, but
We have not, actually, I just printed this out before coming downstairs, so I haven't even had a chance to read
It's
it all.
almost the same as the original one from a couple days ago.
Well, I tell you what,
they
I'm
wouldn't
gonna
send that either.
I'm going to read it out loud, only because
Yep.
it is really important for what we've been talking about since we've been waiting for
Sure.
Mark's notes. It says, "Dear Commissioners, at the request of GPR Engineers, I have reviewed the revised definitive subdivision plan for the Nashua Street Extension Project. The revised plans are dated 9/4/2014, and there was a cover letter dated September 5th, 2014, addressing my comments from my letter dated July 1st. What's the date on the plans here?
9/4.
9/4. So these are the same plans that he reviewed. Thank you. I reviewed the revised plans with respect to the issues related to the notice of intent. These comments do not reflect a full review of the definitive subdivision plans. My comments are as follows. Basically, the drainage is sheet flow across the roadway from south to north, a bituminous Cape Cod berm on the north side to contain runoff to a double catch basin. This section includes a 4% to 9% grade. While the roadway is sloping from south to north, it appears that there could be runoff diverted into Lot 8. Drainage below the catch basin is also sheet flow to the bioretention area. The extent of sheet flow could result in erosion, maintenance issues, and icing conditions. I recommend additional catch basins near the top of the hill and curbings on both sides of the road to control runoff from the roads onto lawns and allow for better maintenance/street sweeping. The bioretention area can still be installed for the cul-de-sac area, but the DPW is concerned with maintenance and snow plowing. The revision also includes a snow storage area between lots 5 and 6 for plowing the cul-de-sac. During winters with heavy snow, we will also need to push snow to the southern side of the cul-de-sac, which is close to the wetland resource area. In addition, the DPW will require sloped granite curbing on both sides of the road. The developer has requested bituminous Cape Cod berm on a section of the north side only and granite at the cul-de-sac. There is also an existing drainage pipe shown on Lot 1 with a swale outlet. Can you point that out? I don't remember that.
It's the.
Oh, the one way in the back. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you. There's also an existing drainage pipe shown on Lot 1 with a swale outlet. It is unclear what the purpose of this is and how it will function in the stormwater management system. I'm assuming it has no function in the stormwater management system.
Correct.
There are drainage issues upstream of this outlet, and I recommend that the developer evaluate the upstream drainage and design a permanent structure instead of leaving it as is and letting the new homeowner deal with the problem.
It's really the water from top of Washington Street that goes down through 2 Taft over across one tap, down between the property line.
Right, I think we walked it.
Been
When,
there
the
for
first time we were there, we
50,
walked that out.
60 years.
It's uncertain where that pipe originates from. There was some discussion that Andersons may have put some sort of structure in, but
It-
it doesn't seem that it would go onto this property that way.
If I remember correctly, you guys walked it, I stood on the top of the hill. I'd already picked 4 ticks off. From the Andersons' property, if you drove down in and the pipe is here, I think you folks chased it out in between the properties, between Anderson and the folks next
We
door.
walked along the fencing.
And there was
Yes.
sort of a undefined channel,
Right.
but no evidence of where that pipe originates from. There's a drain manhole up near Nashua Taft where it crosses under.
Hmm.
It's a little elevated structure. There's also another structure that has a wooden catch basin that Mark identified. I hadn't seen.
A wooden catch basin?
Yeah,
Hmm.
a
Where
wooden
is that?
grated
Sweet fancy Moses.
somewhere in this vicinity.
In the,
He said
in
about
the road
50
or in the
feet off-
grass?
50 feet off of Taft Street. So, I'm not sure if that's the same structure that is the exposed drain manhole that's elevated.
Where is that wooden catch basin?
50 feet off of Taft Street, so 50 feet in.
On the north side of Taft?
Yes, somewhere in this location.
Huh.
So there's question about where that comes from. As far as we're concerned, we're not touching it. We don't have any intent to move it, relocate it, adjust it, add flow to it, change the direction, or change the velocity of the discharge from it. We have provided a proposed easement so that in future relocation, adjustment as necessary, they have a utility and access easement where the pipe could go into. But we don't want to construe it as that's where the pipe's been located and falls in that layout. We've added a plan note basically stating that. As far as that pipe goes, we want to protect the discharge in place without relocating it, realtering it,
That really has
redesigning
to
it.
do, that has to do with the other subdivision on 114 Pleasant, isn't it? That doesn't touch us.
Well, the discharge from it is on your property, but again, where that comes from, we don't know, and it doesn't appear to be anything that we pick up or discharge to.
You walked the property on 2 Taft Street back 3 years ago when you guys confirmed that it was an intermittent stream.
the little one
The
on the
That-
corner.
Nashua
That's
and
what that
Taft.
water is.
Think so?
I know so. I lived there for 30 years.
I'm fairly
Yeah,
confident
I
that
know
that's
where it is.
where that water's coming from. That pipe curves in that direction.
Right.
It's across, it comes from top of Washington Street, down back in McGuan's old house,
Sure.
between Winslow's and McGuan's, then comes down under Nashua Street, onto 2 Taft Street, across under the road, onto, between the Anderson house and the other house. It goes right down the property line, discharges on my old house at 114 Pleasant,
Interesting.
right after Watson's, which is the last house on the left. And it goes down through
Right.
the fields,
Yes.
all the way, it goes underneath the tracks.
No, I know where it goes
Okay.
from there. I guess we were just concerned about where it came from.
When,
But-
when I
Dr.
walked
Washington.
it that day at the site walk with George and Tuck, she were walking that area with me, we were trying to see if that 2 Taft Street that you're referring to was connecting to basically the property lines there.
It definitely goes underwater there.
But the
Underground
outlet
there.
here, the outlet here seems to point straight into the resource areas that are flagged.
What happened is 40 years ago, when my brother lived there, the ditch kept getting clogged up, and then his basement would flood. So that's when that pipe was put in,
All right.
just to keep the water going instead of all the leaves and the limbs and everything else. That's when we could do things like that.
So I guess the only question I have, so as you know, we just got this today. So the only question I have is, did you have a chance to speak with Mark about what he meant when he said that these comments do not reflect a full review?
I received a voicemail from him, I just heard it prior to coming down here for this meeting, stating that we had the email and that he didn't have a lot of time to go over it in a lot of detail because when the plan was received, he was away on vacation. So he's been catching up and then came up with these comments for us tonight, knowing that we were meeting, but he wanted a chance to look it over more because these are not final comments. He knows he has more to comment on.
Okay.
I spoke with Mark earlier today, probably around 3 o'clock this afternoon after receiving these. I spoke with him earlier in the week as well. Essentially, his only concern is that with the drainage, it is related to what's going to happen to Lot 8. He was concerned that water potentially could overtop and fall down that slope. And hence the request for the additional catch basin at the top of the hill. I thought that the catch basin would be okay and it would potentially pick up additional stormwater. We only have 1 CFS of water during the 100-year storm coming to that double catch basin now. That's been upsized from a single to a double per his request. And quite frankly, installing another catch basin up at the top of the hill really wouldn't do much to address the Lot 8 issue.
Can you tip the plan up just a little bit? Thank you.
So he's looking to have us install a catch basin somewhere in that location, but that really wouldn't do much to serve this lot. He's adamant about getting the slope granite curbing. Again, that's probably more of a planning board issue because it doesn't appear that the subdivision regulations require it. Anyways, what we were going to do is, as an alternative, propose curbing from basically the driveway at Lot 8 up to the top of the hill, and that would essentially provide an extra half a foot of relief, make that water much more difficult to jump the curb and run off.
Excuse me. Yeah, I think so correct me if I'm wrong. Recommend additional catch basin near the top, curbing on both sides of the road. So he's actually looking for that already, correct?
He's looking to curb it all the way around on both sides, which we're saying the zoning bylaws do not require that.
It's actually the subdivision regulations, but
What's the grade on the front of Lot 8? Is there any kind of raised area or flat area before it drops off to the house? When you talk about overtopping, does it come off of there and come right down?
we have a 2% grade, and then a flat area for 2 feet, and then slope. So essentially, if Lot 8's down here, we have
Right.
the road doing this,
Right.
and another flat, not flat, but it's 2% extended, 2 feet, and then slope area down, an 8-foot slope right there, and essentially we have 2 to 3 tenths of crossfall, basically elevation drop from the south to the north. Adding that 6 inches, I think, would be more than adequate. I don't really foresee that drainage trying to jump grade and go to that way. However, if we have a storm event where just the road ponds 3 tenths, 4 tenths.
No, I'm...
So and he seemed very responsive to my alternative, in that, one, he gets what he wants in terms of more curb. He understands that we're gonna argue and go to the planning board again to show him that it's not correct.
Well, so let's address that. So just so we're on the same page. So part of the reason that obviously we were interested to hear what the DPW would have to say is they own the road after you're done and the residents are living there. And I know that Mark's concerns, he said they were based on some historical thoughts that he had from another development in town. And I know he was concerned about the bioretention area being the only basin. So you're keeping the bioretention area, you've added a basin.
He actually wanted the basin eliminated. He didn't want it there because he wanted to use it for plowing, and he wanted to have maintenance of it. That was in the previous letter.
So
Yeah,
who
I was
will-
gonna say, well, it seems like he's changed his mind
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Who will take ownership of the bioretention basin? Will it be DPW?
DPW will maintain all of the stormwater management areas, and there was discussion of having a fee,
Yes, actually, I had a conversation with him. Yeah.
per lot fee
Mhm.
to address that cost.
I'm
Okay.
trying to figure that out, how we can do that
Yeah.
via the real estate tax laws.
Well, my initial concern is just making sure that, that Mark's concerns are answered. And I guess my real concern is that I'm very uncomfortable with the idea that he hasn't performed a full review. I don't know where he wants to go with it, but I don't feel comfortable acting until we've heard from Mark for anything else he might have. Did he give you any other thoughts on what he was?
No,
Where
these
he's
are
headed?
the only three items he discussed with me were the pipe on lot 1,
Sure.
and evaluating and giving him an engineered solution. Lot 8 inundation and basically potential runoff from the road, and snow plowing. He was happy that we gave him this area. He thought that would be adequate, but he wanted to basically make sure it was clear that when the plow goes down the road, they're gonna push to the left and right. And regardless of trying to get it all over here, there will be snow pushed off to the shoulder.
No, I can't imagine there'd be any choice.
We can
only
eliminate that issue
concern-
with that pipe by putting a bag of cement in that outlet that comes across my property at 210. Yeah.
I'd probably use 2.
I'd take care of it.
Okay, so I'm glad that Mark was able to respond. I'm disappointed that he wasn't able to do the full review. And so I think at this time we have to continue just simply because we need his comments.
We'll touch base on it.
I'd also recommend that come to whatever agreement you're going to come to with Mark, because as you can imagine, our plan for your subdivision, based on our approval, if it shows bituminous concrete on both sides, or it shows the material on both sides, if you had changes, you would have to come back to us to talk about any changes you had.
I think I agree with you, but I also believe that that plan was approved by the planning board.
All I'm
So-
suggesting to you is that if you change what we decide upon based on Mark's comments, so if
Yeah.
Mark says to you, you have to have a berm on both sides, and you say, okay, and then you go back and you get it changed, and it doesn't show 2 berms, then if you started to build from that plan, it wouldn't match the plan that we had.
No, I understand that, but that's fair, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, but that, a lot of that berm, if it doesn't have to do with water runoff, it's a planning board issue.
Well, interestingly, in this particular case, if Mark says that there's a berm there, then I'm not certain whether it's planning board or otherwise. All I know is that if Mark says there's a berm and you guys agree to it and it's on our plan, then it's our plan. But if you work out with Mark and you explain to him what your thoughts are and you
Yeah.
don't end up with a berm there, I'm fine with it. What I'm most interested in is that Mark is in charge of the DPW, and he's the one who's most concerned about how he's going to treat the road in the future. And if it's on there, then that's what we're
That's a
expecting.
battle between us and him, we understand that.
Right,
We know what he can and can't do, and we're all on the same page.
and I'd just rather be clear that I'd hate to have you start and us come down there and say, hey, where's the other berm? That's all.
No.
Okay. So luckily, it looks like we'll get to see you again. If there's nothing else, I would accept a motion to continue this public hearing. Do you want to try for October 9th? Do you
Yeah.
think you'll be all set by
Yes.
then?
I hope so.
Okay. And I would accept a motion to continue the public hearing for 100-0363 to 10/9.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, we'll see you on 10/9.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It just felt wrong, Jess. I don't know if I can do it again.
You weren't moved to feel moved? Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Good night. So we have 2 public hearings to open for the purpose of continuation.
Yes.
I
have
did
not
just see
had-
Mr. Roper poke his head in.
I think he was heading upstairs.
Okay,
I have not had a chance to touch base with Mr. Mulaney to see where things are at and what else is missing.
okay. But you're expecting things from Mr. Mulaney, so we're not in a spot where we can act?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so for our 7:50 public hearing, I would accept a motion to reopen our public hearing for 100 dash, not on here,
should be in the minutes. 0375.
Thank you.
Sorry.
For 100-0375,
must
for the
have erased this
purposes
on the
of
last one.
continuing that meeting to 10/9.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. And 100
0376.
Thank you, Jess.
I would entertain a motion to reopen the public hearing for the sole purpose of continuation to 10/9 for DEP file number 100-0376.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Never knew we needed George for so much. Okay. So we have an 8, and we are running ahead of schedule. Do we have any community preservation committee, community preservation
We
committee
meet next week.
next week?
Yeah.
Okay. And from the last I recall, everything is off the table for Kohler Place?
Yeah.
Okay. Pond and Dam met. It's too bad we don't
No,
have
they
Tucker.
were going to have a meeting and then they didn't have a quorum.
Oh,
I
no.
think partly because Mark was on vacation and somebody else was missing, so
Okay.
that meeting last Monday got canceled.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Stormy Waters?
I'm not meeting till October.
All right, and it looks like Greenway is out of business. Okay. Becky, as you mentioned earlier, our MBTA site visit is 10/4.
Yes, 8 a.m.
All right, put that in my calendar. All right, is everyone able to make it that day, or is that tough for anybody?
I just need to confirm there's a possibility that Chris is out of town, so I don't know if I'll have childcare that day.
Oh,
but
bring
I'll
him.
confirm.
So this is over on Willow Road?
Yes.
Start from there? Okay.
Mhm.
At the tracks?
Yes.
Okay, so 8 a.m. at the end on Willow Road. All right. All right, and I'm just making sure I set the alert so I don't forget. Okay. So that's 10/4, and that's just for the certificate of compliance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are our friends at Geosyntec?
I don't have anything new to report today.
Okay. Anything new?
Nope.
All right. Beaver management.
Beaver management, Mike Callahan and I have been playing phone tag, but he wants to pencil in a date that would be the second or third week of October, and go from there. So he says not a problem.
Okay. That works.
To get a hold of him tomorrow so I can actually get a date.
Well, you mean for action, right?
I knew that was coming.
I missed that one.
Doesn't need a date.
Oh, right. No.
Just keep the ring on. All right.
Oh, no.
Did you have any other updates for the week?
No. Oh, yes, excuse me, I do. I received a copy of a letter that was faxed to Town Hall from Robert Collins pertaining to Stratton Hill.
Ah,
Mr. Collins couldn't come in person today, and this was in response to the
Stratton Hill.
Stratton Hill enforcement order. We had requested them to come before us. I had actually realized after the fact that I forgot to post that part, so that actually worked out really well.
hey,
But I
hey.
have the letter here, and he basically put in writing that his client, well, I'll let you read it, but that they understand that they are not to do any work at all on the site.
I represent Fox Meadow Realty Corporation, owner of the property situated on Wright Road, commonly referred to as the Stratton Hill subdivision. My client regrets a misunderstanding which occurred earlier this year when he sent members of his construction crew to the site to clean the entrance to the road. My client has no plans to commence construction at this site in the foreseeable future and will contact the commission prior to any work being performed at this property in the future so that the erosion controls can be inspected, construction plans and schedules can be reviewed. He's missing the expression completed, correct? We're still missing the completion to
For the
his
wetland
application.
replication.
Please be assured my client meant no disrespect, apologizes for any inconvenience that his well-intentioned, albeit misguided, actions may have caused.
And then the question is whether or not they still
Thank
have to come before the commission. Because I received a voicemail message in addition to this.
Well, I think what's probably important is that they do come before the commission, because it would be important for us to remind him that he's not done, he can't start, and that was the whole reason that the enforcement order was served. We're waiting for his information. So please let him know that we would need to see him in order to complete his application.
Will do.
Thank you very much. All right. Anything else from your side?
That is it for today.
All right. Jess, anything for you? All right. Well, we're coming right up on 8 o'clock, so why don't we go ahead and enter into our meeting discussion with Ms. Jean Hoffman-Anuda and Michael Anuda.
For those in the audience, I'll give you a little background. We bought a house in Pingree Hills.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Jean Hoffman-Anuda.
Michael Anuta.
Okay? There's no need for background.
Well, unless the audience, but okay.
Well, actually, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Thank you. So we received your letter on September 3rd, protesting our reissuance of the original orders of conditions for Pingree Hill. You requested a written explanation, Mike, for what you saw as an irregularity. Then, Ms. Hoffman, you wrote on September 21st, indicating that you were very upset about what had occurred. And then Mr. Anuda on September 1st indicated that he reiterated our objection, and he wanted to know how the town would provide a remedy to the fraud perpetrated by the agents of the town in conjunction with the developer, and why we continue to work hand in hand with the developer, ignoring recommendations from DEP. So at that point, having been accused of fraud, we submitted a question to town's council, who indicated that if the commission was reissuing an existing order of conditions, that it could be reissued for recording purposes. If expired, a new hearing would be required. We indicated to town council that it had not expired due to the 4-year permit time frame, and that we were reissuing it during that time frame. Town council wrote back, "It appears from this information that the Conservation Commission acted appropriately." Any further questions?
Yes. What is the intent of the reissue then?
The intent of the reissue was to have a document that was signed, and an original document, which is what's required at the Registry of Deeds.
So the intent is to encumber my property.
Actually, the intent is to formalize that document. If you'd like to, I would reference you to our council through your council.
Yes.
Okay. So the best thing for you to do is to reach out through the town administrator. And we were directed specifically that your council should engage town council directly.
Can I ask a question, as since we didn't know that there was an order of conditions on our property until, or that one was written, it was never recorded until June this year. What have you done in the process of building our property to inspect to make sure it was done according to the order of conditions?
During the process, for an order of conditions, the applicant comes forward with plans
Mhm.
which indicate exactly what work is going to be done. During that time, the applicant is required to install all the erosion controls that are necessary for the property. And then after they are installed, they're required to notify us within 72 hours for an inspection.
7 days.
7 days, thank you. It used to be 72 hours, but it was too tight with our time frame. So
If
there's a-
that order is older, it may have still said that, I'm not quite sure.
After they've installed the hay bales, in this case, then we go out and inspect the hay bales.
Did you inspect them?
We did.
Do you have a date that you inspected them?
I can't provide one for you at this time.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
Well, I was just wondering if the order of conditions wasn't filed. It appears that it's concerning to us as to what was actually supervised during the building process.
So I think what you'll find is that the recording of the order of conditions is very different than the maintenance of the order of conditions. So in this community, and what has always happened is we walk every property before the work commences during the project. We meet with the developer, we understand what they're planning to do, we perform an inspection of the erosion controls after they're installed, and quite regularly, in fact, this property has probably been inspected more than any other that we've ever worked on in town due to some of the issues that cropped up and the fact that they had new properties that had orders of conditions almost monthly for a while. We were out on this area probably every other week for a while. So we were out in the area of this property, servicing it as it was necessary for the developer.
How do we know that? I mean,
You don't.
since this wasn't reported, when we purchased the property, we didn't even know it had a wetland on it. Our attorney, when he searched the deed, nothing turned up. It was a real surprise to us that we bought a property with a wetland, that we had an order of conditions. And now that you record the orders of conditions, there are all kinds of things that we were supposed to do as property owners that we didn't know about. What is expected of us if these do get recorded?
So at this point, as I noted in your letter, I'm not sure if I have the right one.
I think it might,
Oh,
your correspondence.
since Conservation Commission has the responsibility to make sure that the OOCs are recorded on the deeds, actually, that's not true.
It isn't?
No, ma'am.
You-
It is the applicant's responsibility to record the order.
But don't you have oversight to make sure the applicant does that?
We typically do make sure that the applicant does that.
And what happened in this case?
In this particular case, the applicant did not record the deed.
And why didn't the commission pick up on that?
Well, unfortunately, at the time, we were using another person who was working in Becky's stead because she was out. So I'm not going to tell you that it was the best thing that could have happened, and it is too bad that it didn't happen. However, as you didn't own the property at the time, our applicant would have been Mr. Roper, who we did work hand in hand with on the property.
But
So-
we own the property now.
You certainly do own it now.
So how can you go back and record something on a property that Mr. Roper doesn't own anymore?
I would assume that that's something you and your attorney would want to discuss with town council or with Mr. Roper.
And you are, as an enforcement order, enforcing Mr. Roper to record this on our property?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, we are not issuing the two new orders until we've
Correct.
gotten, and that was one of the issues, but
It's not under enforcement order.
it's not under enforcement
What was
order.
discussed was a bullet list of items that came up as a result of this that were incomplete, that we were asking him to go back and complete before we issue any new permits. And part of that is not just recording the order, but then requesting a certificate for compliance because the work is complete, so that he would have the burden of filing for that, so that you would not inherit that financial burden.
For the certificate of completion, as well as the registering of
The recording of it.
the recording of it.
How have you handled, because we are not the only homeowners in the community that are unaware that they have an order of conditions on their property. From what I understand, there are at least 2 other properties that are in that condition. Has there been any effort to at least notify the property owners that they have an order of conditions?
Not that I'm aware of. Is there anything else?
Are there any other than these 3 properties that you know of in the community that aren't recorded?
No, we did a file search to verify.
And you said that you had to sign these because you needed a current
Original copy.
original copy, but it's not dated.
What's not dated?
The signature
The
page.
signature page is not dated.
Oh, from the date that you reissued it. we couldn't put the current date on it because that would change the permit expiration date on it. So I just had the original new signature page attached to the original page of when it was actually issued,
I see.
so as not to change the dates of the permit. And on it, I wrote reissued original.
Does it not say reissued original on the page?
It does say reissued original, but I was just wondering, when this winds up on our deed, if it does, you know, how that's gonna affect our title. Because it's not dated.
I would discuss that with your attorney.
So now we have a burden of legal fees through no fault of our own.
Which I would discuss with your attorney.
Okay. So what you're saying is the Conservation Commission has absolutely no responsibility for not making sure this was filed.
What I'm telling you is that an order of conditions was issued for work on a property. The work was monitored, maintained, in fact, at a greater extent than would normally have ever happened on a property of this type with the small amount of work that needed to happen. And during that time frame, we kept a close eye on the work that was happening in the area. Whether it's recorded or not is obviously important to you, but had nothing to do with our ability to maintain or affect maintenance on the order of conditions.
But doesn't it say in the order of conditions, in the order that you provide the people with, that no work should commence?
As we discussed.
For the hay bales,
And that was
right?
human error.
Pardon me?
The inspection of the hay bales, no work is to commence until that.
No,
Which?
no work is to be commenced until it's filed with the
Right.
Registry of Deeds.
But we don't monitor that directly.
So.
That was human error in that it was,
Well-
even though I was on site conducting the site visits, that we didn't realize we hadn't received a copy of the recorded page. We usually receive proof of recording. But the work commenced, it was monitored. The reason why we're asking them to go back and do that is because that was
to clean
an
up the
error on the
paperwork.
applicant's part of not doing that.
We certainly appreciate your concern,
Are-
and we'd like you to know that no fraud was committed, although certainly your attorney can tell you that better after he speaks to our attorney. However, what's probably important for you to know is that an order of conditions was issued so that work would be monitored while that happened on the property before you owned the property.
Mhm.
And I don't personally think we could have monitored any subdivision or development more than happened at your particular area. So what I'm trying to get across is that the work occurred just the way it was supposed to, whether it was
What
recorded or
we're
not.
trying to get
Get
across
across
is
I
that,
understand where you're coming from,
that,
but there's
No, have you
nothing we
done-
can do about that.
yes, there is something that you can do about it in the future. Are you changing your, I mean, the failure point, the single point of failure here is Becky. If Becky gets hit by a
Thank
truck,
you.
God forbid, or anything else.
What he's referring to is that it all channels through you.
And so, you know, in the best practices for conservation commissions, the manual, it says, you know, to use, I guess they've created a program that's free. Are you guys thinking at all of doing anything else to, I mean, this is one of the fastest growing towns in the state, and, you know,
You do
you gotta
understand,
help.
you do understand that this was one mailing that contained 3 orders in 7 years that went awry. One mailing in 7 years that went awry. I appreciate your concern, but this was an aberration. This was not a structured problem that we've had.
Okay. One other question. Our order of conditions is tied to 100-330, which I understand also wasn't filed and doesn't have a certificate of completion. And that was a year before these. How did that happen? This is 2009. Ours was 2010. This is September 2009.
0330 is
Phase two,
2.
that's phase two. Phase two was mailed directly to, that's when Allison was here. Phase two is mailed directly to Rick Roper's address at the time, which was actually the address of the model home. We received the green card that it was received. However, I've been told that they didn't record it. I don't know what happened to the original, which is why they asked us to
Reissue.
reissue it when we realized that that one had not been recorded. The other 3 were the batch. And that's the one that we also received green cards for, that had gone to Mr. Mulaney's office. And I wasn't here during that meeting, but I believe he stated that he doesn't recognize the signature that was on that card for that batch.
No, I remember that.
So how does?
And that was during, if I may just finish, that was during a year where I took a lot of time off for personal reasons. So that's why that one slipped through the cracks on my part.
So how does that one affect our order of conditions? Because it's documented on
The
our
original
order
one? It's for the infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever there's phase work, the permit that goes for the infrastructure usually gets attached to all of those lots. And then the way it's been done is that then there are individual permits for the individual lots that fall within the buffer zone. You may not have a wetland directly on your property, but if you're within the buffer zone, those
Well,
lots
and,
get.
and also, just to be clear, if a road is put in that serves your house, even if for instance, this evening we talked about Lilac.
Lilac, yeah.
We talked about 5 Lilac Lane. The road that services 5 Lilac Lane has wetland in many areas as well as stormwater. Any house that is on Lilac is then part of the phase. In this case, this was done in phases. Pondview was also done in phases. And that is attached to your deed as well because you're served by the roadway. So in that particular case, let's say you were going to sell your house, we would issue a partial certificate of compliance for your particular property because the road is completed. So in this particular case, phase two road is complete. Phase 2 road is complete. So a certificate of compliance or a partial certificate of compliance could be issued for you for that work, if you so asked.
Even if there's nothing on the deed that references
We're
that?
talking about the order of conditions.
Yeah,
So Ms. Anuta just asked about that. I was just referencing exactly what would happen.
So this is also referenced on a lot of our neighbors.
It should be referenced on all of your neighbors.
I don't see it on any of their deeds, though.
If it's in their order of conditions, then it should be attached to their deeds.
okay. I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pass those back, please. All right. Mr. Brown, we're early.
What's your full name?
Duncan,
Duncan Brown.
M. We're part of the Willows Condominium Association, and we have just formed an ad hoc board for the Willows for when we take over the Board of Trustees. There's 2 there. When we take over the Board of Trustees in June of 2015, and we had requested this so that we could basically learn how to do it and what we had to do and all of the ins and outs of that. And part of the thing is to coordinate with the builder as to what they're doing on phase 3. And these conditions have actually come up fairly recently as they go into extending Longview Circle into phase 3. And what they're now claiming is that the soils are different than what they were when they were building in these areas on phases 1 and 2. And that's not really the case. The soils are the same. They were there always. They did have to actually blast on some of the buildings, as well as they did have to excavate some of the silt material that they have on site. I read your minutes and they had referred to clay. There is no clay on the site. It's all silt. And there's a difference in grain size for silt.
I don't mean to be rude. Is this something you do as a profession?
Yes.
What do you do, sir?
I'm a civil engineer, sanitary engineer,
certified soil analysis.
I appreciate you answering. I only ask because, having been on that property, I can tell you that many years ago, when we first walked and they first started digging, there was an astounding amount of clay. In fact, the clay that was there had been hauled out for years for use in dump or landfill containment. And when I first walked on that property, probably back in '04, there were 3 enormous steam shovels down at the bottom. And the back of the hill had been carved out, much like it is today.
Right.
After the beginning, thank you, after the beginning of the project, the material that ran down the hill and ended up in the basin that was down at the bottom, there's that pond at the bottom. That was identified to us as being clay by Mary Trudeau, and the other folks who had come in there. So if they're not in clay now, then that's one thing, but I do know, just for a fact, that there was an awful lot of clay there on the site when we first started.
Okay, way back then, when it was advertised as a clay source, we were using clay as barriers in septic systems as well to keep the
Sure.
groundwater flow from going,
I think
continuing.
we can close that, pardon us, I think we can close that door as long as this one is open.
And so I actually had samples taken of the material that they were saying was clay, and we found that it was all a medium, it was a medium silt and not really clay.
Okay.
And so we...
What's the, if you don't mind me asking, and it's purely for my own education, what's the difference?
The clay starts at 10 to the minus 7 on size, particle size.
Okay,
And silt goes from 5 to 7.
I see.
And
So
this was
bigger.
tested at larger size,
Yeah.
right? And so the silt that we tested, or the material we tested as clay, came out 10 to the minus 5. So it was on the larger size of silt rather than the smaller size and the clay size over here.
Okay.
So,
Is it,
and that's
is it
what they're
fair?
hitting. What?
Is it fair to say that that's a tough thing to discern between clay and silt if they're 10 to the minus 7 and 10 to the minus 5?
You have to test it.
That's,
Yeah.
okay.
But, you know, the grittiness and the things like that, clay is very smooth in your fingers.
Sure.
Whereas silt is gritty. You can actually feel the difference in size
Interesting.
with it. And it streaks differently. Clay will streak very smoothly and silt will not. It'll clump up in your
Interesting.
fingers. So anyway, they're hitting that material, but this is not a surprise, and they've known about this for a long time. But what it has come down to is that they are being told by the building inspector that they have to remove all the poorer material from the excavation and backfill with gravel. And so they are now saying that it's costing too much to build the foundations for these houses, whereas they actually had to do that on many of these. And one of the things about a large subdivision is that you balance the cost of the different foundations. You know, you have a tough one here, you have a very easy one here, you have a medium one there, and so it balances out. But they are now claiming, okay, it's too expensive for certain ones. So their effort has been to pick and choose the spots, and they're still guessing because they didn't actually test in all of those. So now they're going from 3 units to 2 units. They're eliminating 1 unit, making it 2 units, and they're trying to keep to the same 97 units within the whole complex. And so just recently they declared that their lot 87 was going to be too expensive to build. That was the way they quoted. And so that was what prompted them to want to move over to the end of the units that were down the hill. And I don't think that that's a valid excuse, because they knew about this all along. And now they're playing checkerboard with different sizes, different locations, and what have you. And the comeuppance was that we saw the stakes appear in the ground over at the corner, and I actually called Becky, and mentioned that back in August and asked about that because this plan is the one that they had approved way back in the beginning.
I remember.
And they identified these lines, the 200-foot riverfront, the 100-foot riverfront, the offset zones, and the A2 100-year floods, etc. And at the time when they did that, actually the last building that was approved was marginal. They kind of asked for it with the idea that, okay, it's only half into the 200-foot, can we do it? And
You're in luck. I was there.
right, okay, well, then, I haven't had a chance to review the order of conditions back then, but I think that it was alluded to that that was the last one that they could do. That one was being approved at the time, even though they had to get some variances to the riverfront and what have you. Now, because of the checkerboarding over here, they want to jump back in and get the one that I've outlined there in red, which is clearly within the 200-foot. It's also clearly within the 100-foot buffer of the drainage works that they put in. And I believe that the revisions for the Zone A2 100-year and Zone B 500-year are going to include all the way up to almost the blue line there, because the river bed or the brook bed is quite level in that area, and it seems to stay. All of the storms we've had have not been 100-year, but it seems that the brook stays within the banks, but it's only that much more where it floods out horizontally into this valley. And also, you can't see it because I put the proposed building in front of it, but you can see some contour lines on that side. They actually excavated out, and I think that that was part of the mitigation for the last building, where they actually created flood area. And so this building is now being plunked back into that mitigation area that they had done years ago to be allowed to do the last building here. So that's all our concerns, number one, but we have the neighbor here that is questioning why they're doing it, because she was told that this was the last building they were going to be able to do in that direction, and that was one of the reasons she bought that one, was she purchased it for that reason. But the second thing is that as the ad hoc board, we're going to be responsible for all of the ins and outs of flood insurance and things like that. If we in fact end up where that building, which was a last change, ends up being in the 500-year flood zone, or because of the mitigation, they have to do more mitigation and take more material out, that would extend the 500-foot flood zone. And so that unit would probably be the only ones that would be required to have flood insurance. And we would be, and we would have to be party of that, because we have control of the outside of the building and they only have the inside of the building. So we want to investigate a little bit more as to what the legal requirements of the board would be in that case, as well as the legal requirements for the unit owners buying it. Advertisement that it's in a flood zone, they have to have flood insurance, this type of thing. All of that paperwork would come. So we were surprised that that when I talked to Becky and she sent me the minutes, that they actually went ahead with this, with all of this, and that you folks did approve it at that last meeting. We weren't notified as abutters on any case. Nobody within the Willows was notified as abutters, and the current Board of Trustees do not own any of these buildings, so they legally aren't the abutters. They have sold them. They have no interest in those at all. And so at this point, we would request that you vote to review the decision that you made with with new information provided, et cetera, and new concerns provided. And if you could do that and notify the Habitat and the trustees that that was the case, then that's where we would like to go. I didn't check with you, but because it was August 28th, and because there is a DEP order with this, usually we have 10 days to appeal to them on a decision that this board would make. And whether that has gone by the board or not, other than you didn't approve the minutes until this last time.
So actually, we just approved the meeting minutes from 9/11 this evening.
Right. On 9/11, you approved the August 28th minutes.
We would have.
So
we have
does the
August
10
28th
days
minutes
start
here.
from, does the 10 days start from 9/11 to
Well,
go
so-
to 21, or what?
So actually, to be to be completely honest with you, but I think the place to start is, so if you've obviously been involved in this industry for a while, you're familiar with the field change process.
Mhm.
So as you know, if you've ever been before a commission, the field change process is not a standard hearing process. We don't require advertisement during that process. Has that been your experience as well?
So butters don't need to be notified, is that what you're saying?
So let me define what we mean. Why don't you come up and sit up front? It's no,
Is it-
and I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. You don't have to tell your whole name, just
Sheila.
Sheila.
I don't have my whole name.
So,
um,
and Mr. Brown is, I'm sure, aware of this, and you probably haven't filed for a whole lot of orders of conditions before.
No.
So Sheila, what happens is that in this particular case, the developer comes to us with a plan.
Right.
And part of that plan is to say where they're going to work, whether it's inside of the resource areas or not. And it's also to discuss stormwater. So for instance, there's an awful lot of road and hill in your development. And where you are down at the bottom, it's probably very important to you that all the water coming down that hill doesn't end up where you are.
Yes.
So when the applicant came to us at our last hearing, or excuse me, 2 hearings ago on August 28th, their discussion with a request for field changes was they wanted to relocate the houses. And there was another discussion, they wanted to relocate the units. There were a few changes made to the road. And so at that time, the developer, Mr. O'Hagan, came to us with Deshang Wang, who we're familiar with from another project, and Jesse Johnson from David E. Ross. Had you met either of those two gentlemen?
I know the Ross, David Ross.
So Jesse's been in front of us many times. During that time, Jesse, Deshang, and Mr. O'Hagan indicated where they had made the changes in the road and where they had made the changes with the units.
Mhm.
The main point of that was that there would be no increase in either the number of units or the impervious surfaces. I'm just trying to, I just want to make sure that I explain to
I
Sheila
understand.
where we're coming from.
Okay, I understand that.
So,
But those units are in phase 3, and they're on the extension of Longview.
mhm.
And where they want to plunk this is back in phase 2.
No, and that's why I was getting to it. So Sheila, the main thing that we were really concerned about was what would happen up on the hill, seeing as how there are an awful lot of houses in phase 2 that are already constructed. And if the developer made a drastic change in the phase 3, then that water coming down the hill could have a bad effect on your property. So our first and foremost concern was, were the applicant's changes going to have any effect on the existing homes? Having an effect on the new homes, which aren't in place yet, is of course one of our concerns as well, as it affects the resource area. But our primary concern was this going to do anything different to development and its ability to maintain stormwater? So that was our very first question. During that time, we walked through all those parts, and the commission was satisfied, based on the commentary by Mr. Wang and by Mr. Johnson, that no deleterious effect would occur due to the changes in straightening the roadway and changing the houses on the road. So at that point, that was when the applicant said, we'd also like to make changes to an area to be cleared west of Unit 95. So Unit 95 must be your property.
Yeah.
Being this, do you remember it being described as 95?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we're 100% the same. So So no construction would be done inside the inner riparian zone. An enhanced vegetative buffer would be planted. We talked about how we would provide for signage so that whoever moved into the house would know that they couldn't extend out into the area. The runoff was directed. And so unfortunately, probably the only thing that doesn't appear in our very detailed notes is that we indicated that the plan that the applicant had needed to be submitted to us for a final review. And the note says, GB, Mr. Bacon, moved to approve the field changes for the project known as the Willows as detailed above and depicted on the August 2014 plans. So we requested a set of the drawings, which we have not yet received from.
Right, Jesse was going to mail us a clean copy because I asked for a colored copy so we could really distinguish between the original plan and proposed, as well as signage, I believe was the specs of the
Right.
signage.
Did you discuss any of the river protection portion of the
We
law?
discussed the fact that it would be within the outer riparian zone and that it would be in generally the same condition as the building which is next to it, which is almost entirely in the outer riparian zone. Part of our discussion did also, we did cover the fact that that area had been some sort of mitigation. What was interesting is that, I believe it was actually I don't remember if it was Mr. O'Hagan or Mr. Johnson, indicated that the mitigation was due to wetland plants.
Invasives.
Invasives.
Jesse Johnson.
So what we agreed to during that meeting was to what they presented to us with a final plan to come to follow. If it turns out that, as you're discussing, you believe that to have been an area for mitigation, which I'm sorry to tell you, I don't remember from 2004 if that was an area for mitigation or not. But Becky was waiting for that plan to come through to do a final plan review
Mhm.
and make sure that everything as represented to us was accurate. If what was represented to us wasn't accurate, then that would certainly be cause to go back to the developer.
May I add
Please do.
that, as you mentioned before, we were discussing field changes, so it wasn't the public hearing, so we didn't issue a new permit. Your inquiry about the 10-day appeal period, it doesn't apply in this case. We didn't issue a permit, we just had accepted field changes.
And so I was, and thank you, because I was getting there.
Okay.
I hope you don't feel ignored. I just wanted to make sure that Sheila understood where we were coming from, because I assumed correctly, I think, that you didn't do this all the time.
No, I did not. I
So-
just want to know the process of which I understand that from a conservation commission, you may accept the plan, but obviously I have issues with the building being there, especially since it's 13 feet away from my foundation, which seems to be a little close. So I would just like an opportunity to voice my concerns about a whole lot of things, and I don't know the appropriate agency to go before
Sure.
to do that.
Well, I think there was one other item that had come up. They indicated that they had cleared the zoning board of appeals. So,
So I don't know what that means.
okay, so towns formulate regulations to prevent, say, commercial development in residential neighborhoods, et cetera. And that's part of a zoning bylaw. By definition, you seek zoning relief, which means that the town can just say no, or they can issue relief to make a change.
Okay.
So they indicated that they had cleared the zoning board of appeals. What that would essentially mean is that they had already gone before the zoning board.
They had done some earlier work where they went to the zoning board and didn't come to us.
The upper portion.
The upper portion.
The upper
But this
portion.
newer stuff, they were going to go this time through us first before they went to the zoning board.
So you're saying that they have
They have
yet
not-
to go through. So my concern, I just as being the person who's beside them, obviously when I bought that house, it was because that was going to be a natural grassy area and whatnot. Fine if the town accepts putting it there, would not make me really happy, but I have a couple of issues in that it's very, very close to my house, and that it affects a lot of the parking, available parking in that neighborhood, of which it's very limited at the moment. But
I've seen cars parked on the street there. Is that
Yes.
what you're referring to?
yes,
Are there not, do those units not have garages?
we have one single garage.
Okay.
You cannot park a car in my driveway because it is so steep, which I'm not sure how that came about. But I just, like I said, if they go before the zoning to get that cleared,
Right.
when does it become, I just don't want to come home one day and find a backhoe in my side yard building a house 13 feet away from me.
Certainly. So at this point, if they have to go before zoning,
Yes.
you would be notified
Okay.
by mail that they had applied for zoning relief.
All right,
You would be notified of when the hearing was, and then you'd be able to show at the hearing.
that's all I'm asking for.
Um,
All right.
May I make another suggestion? You may
Please do.
want to contact the Board of Selectmen's office.
Well, I
To
sent an
know
email
if-
to a whole lot of people.
Okay.
But
To
I
know
just don't know
if
the
they've
right-
already inquired to be
Okay.
on the agenda.
All right.
Just to see, I'm not, just to see where they're at.
So
they've gotten
if they
heads up
get-
on that yet.
They go, is the process to go through the zoning appeals and then to the Board of Selectmen, or how does that all
So
transpire?
what would happen is that, so first off, there was an existing order of conditions for the property,
Okay.
and then there was also an existing enforcement order on the property,
Okay.
one of many that we've issued over the years. At this point, what they would do is they would go to zoning, and then, once they were done with zoning, they would take their zoning relief and they would go file for a permit with the building inspector.
Okay.
I do believe the next zoning board meeting, if they have a quorum, is on October 8th.
Was it planning board tonight upstairs?
That's
That's planning board.
That's,
Planning
they're
The
pretty
zoning
much on your
board's been
schedule
having
as
trouble
well.
having quorums, and they're
Okay.
supposed to meet monthly, but that's, the Board of Selectmen's office has taken over their
Okay.
administrative work, so that's why Becky's suggesting you contact them
Yeah.
and get that information.
They don't
It's
currently have
Carly,
office
right?
staff,
Yeah,
so
no.
it's going off the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Okay, we've had actually zero contact with them on all of this. They're not telling, they agreed that we could form a board to learn how to do it and everything, but they're not communicating with us at all. They never told us that they were gonna go for this. The first indication was that there was a stake in the ground, that they had their engineers try to locate where this would be, so that, I suppose you folks could see it. I don't know, have you been out to look at this?
They said
I know they
Oh,
were.
that you were before your,
I drive
other
through
thing?
there regularly. I knew the area.
okay.
We are
Okay.
regularly on the property to, basically to make sure that the work that's being done there is being
Mhm.
done properly. There was for a long period of time, I don't know if you recall, work was shut down on the site while they waited for the runoff to clear
Mhm.
as it was going into that back pond.
Mhm.
So, and into the stream, in fact, down at the bottom of the hill,
Mhm.
which we found pretty amazing. That material, that silty material, ran like crazy down that hill.
It takes a year to settle.
I think it took longer than that.
Pond, right.
I think it took longer than that.
I have one question about the original order of conditions, which you said this would have been a field change to.
Correct.
And of all the items that are listed on that, did they mention anything, did you mention anything about this being the last unit on that line?
So I think the best thing for us to do is to reach out to Mr. Johnson tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
ask him where our full plan is as requested.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that point, once we have his full plan in hand, that gives us the dimensions, et cetera, and
Mhm.
clearly identifies the location of the house lot, we can then do a full file review. And based on our conversation, it makes sense to put you on our next meeting, and we can have that same discussion at that time and go over what we've learned about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
When is your
Okay.
meeting?
October 9th.
You have a copy of the order? Or
Yes.
do I need it? Okay. I'm not exactly sure where they have filed it, because I know it wasn't part of the deed that I had. They didn't refer to the order of conditions. And it would have had to been iterations on it, because they started 7 years ago.
Yes,
So-
9.
Well, no,
So long.
I don't have it yet.
Regardless.
we told them that we wanted to take over at year 7. So, and I did check on the master deed. I think that's when the master deed was finalized and signed and filed and what have you. So, hopefully that's where they would have been filing these with the master deed. I would assume their
Should be.
lawyers would have done that, because I do know it doesn't appear on the individual units.
Well,
So,
why don't we
Till next time?
reach out to Mr. Johnson? We'll get that formal plan that was promised to us at our meeting, which would better show the definition. Unfortunately, I understand you weren't here that night, but what they showed us was a full-scale plan with an area drawn on for the house. And they illustrated that it was in the outer riparian, not in the inner riparian. And quite frankly, it's in the area that's already been cleared. So that was a big part of what our decision was that it was an area that was already open. And I understand where you're coming
Okay.
from.
But the reason it was open was that that was the mitigation area
And
for the last building.
that will absolutely be a discussion point during our file review.
Okay, well, as long as you're aware of that, then that's great.
I appreciate you bringing it up. I just, quite honestly, I didn't remember it from 9 years back, 10 years back.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll see you on our agenda on the 9th. All right. Anything else for you, Jess? Lee?
Just clarification on 5 Lilac Lane, it's out of our jurisdiction. But you want to hold off for the signing on the COC?
I guess my only thought would be, I think we drive by every one of them, so if it just takes 2 seconds to do, are we holding up a sale?
The closing's Monday.
And they
all
came to us
stressed
when?
out about it. The clerk doing the title review had called me originally on Monday and brought it to my attention, but didn't tell me the closing date, and the actual homeowner who didn't understand the process came in. Oh God, when was it? Today's Thursday. Actually, it was yesterday morning when he came to want to sign this himself because he didn't want it to hold, the attorneys holding it off on sending it to me. So he came in to know where was the form. But once he said Lilac, I thought, okay, we know where that is.
All right, well, we've certainly been up and down that road.
We have.
And Lilac is the subdivision off to the right that is in no way affected or impeded by the wetlands in the area behind?
That's my
Okay.
understanding. Would you be comfortable? I can.
Well, I mean, if the
commission's
lot
not
is
comfortable,
purely
we'll hold off
non-jurisdictional, if the lot's purely non-jurisdictional, I think what I would recommend is that we can sign
Conditional.
conditional upon your visit tomorrow, and if
Mhm.
you find something that's
Mhm.
completely out of whack, then please withhold.
Okay.
And if everything looks the way we're expecting, then that's
Okay.
appropriate.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So I would accept a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 5 Lilac Lane in Pondview Estates, conditional upon Becky's review of the property tomorrow in person.
So moved.
Seconded.
Never heard such sarcasm in a movement. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. All right, and as that is our last order of business for the evening, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you and good night.